Yeah, okay, and this is my one node. Yes, so today uh, we'll start with the topic of the dimension analysis. So what is dimension? So in physics, dimension tells us the nature of physical quantity, not its value, but what kind of quantities. बेसिकली ये कहना चाह रहा है कि फिजिक्स में जो डायमेंशंस होता है वो केवल मैग्नीट्यूड के साथ नहीं डील करता, बेसिकली ये बताता है हमको कि वह क्वांटिटी किस टाइप की है. फॉर एग्जांपल, अगर हम वेलोसिटी की बात करते हैं तो वेलोसिटी के पास मैग्नीट्यूड के साथ साथ वेक्टर क्वांटिटी है और इसके साथ साथ वह एक लेंथ और टाइम का रेशियो है. फॉर एग्जांपल, एक्सेलरेशन. एक्सेलरेशन एक क्वांटिटी तो है, साथ में उसका मैग्नीट्यूड है, लेकिन वह अपने आप में एक डायमेंशन रखती है. तो फिजिक्स में क्वांटिटी, बहुत सारी क्वांटिटी लाइक इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड, magnetic field, specific heat, and various quantity that you learn in physics always have magnitude, but there is a kind of dimension associated with physics. Without dimension, the meaning of the physics of course become meaningless. So there is some fundamental dimension. Today I will just discuss three dimension, which is more fundamental. There are basically there are seven fundamental quantity. By using this, we can explain entire physical phenomena that is happening around us. But today we will discuss only three, that is length, mass and time. So velocity, for example, velocity is not a new fundamental things. It is a ratio of the length and time. For example, velocity is equal to the length upon time and dimension is Lt minus 1. So the dimension tells us the structure of the physical reality in the symbolic form. So now next slide we do why do we need dimensions? So to check the correctness of the equation. For example, in the physics, for there is a very simple equation in kinematics, that is S equal to the ut plus half zt square z a. This a denote the acceleration of the particle. So the interesting thing is that in mathematics you can add anything, because in mathematical equation we just consider the magnitude of the quantity, so it doesn't matter how the quantity it is. But in physics, the any dimension, for example, here is three terms, first s and the second terms is ut and the third terms is half zt square. So each term have the same dimension. For if any terms have the different dimension, for example ut does not add f, मीन्स वेलोसिटी को फोर्स के साथ ऐड नहीं कर सकते. कोई भी ऐसा इक्वेशंस जिनमें डायमेंशन डिफरेंट हो और वो एडिशन साइन के साथ ऐड हो, वो कोई भी ऐसा फिजिकल फेनोमेना एक्सप्लेन नहीं कर पाएंगी, वो मीनिंगलेस होंगी इन टर्म्स ऑफ फिजिक्स. सो सम one write like equation s barabar ut plus at. So this equation we can say and directly point out, encounter that this equation is wrong, because the dimension of s is length. Here the dimension of ut also have the dimension of length, but at this is not the dimension of length. So this equation is completely wrong in terms of physics, but mathematically this is right, but in terms of physics it is completely meaningless equations. So it become dimensionally wrong because it has dimension Lt minus 1, not L. So dimension protect the physical form of nonsense. To discover the relationship and powerful tool. So even without knowing the full theory, we can guess the formula. So this is the very fundamental concept behind the dimension analysis, that for example, if you know the time period of the pendulum under the action of the gravity, so but by just analyzing the time period depend upon how quantity, for example length and the gravity is the quantity in which the time period depend upon. So by just applying the exponential relation, and we can derive the equation without solving any more deep theory. So here we can observe that time period is proportional to the square root of the length upon z. So this is amazing. We can derive the structure without solving any differential equations by just using the concept of the dimension analysis. This is the power of the dimension analysis now. And without dimension analysis, physics become meaningless. If I say energy equal to the length upon time, so it is mathematically allowed, but the dimensionally meaningless, as I told in the first PPT. So this is a beautiful counter example that you can note energy by the length or time. Energy, all the terms associated with energy are having the dimension of energy. So dimension is what give the physical meaning of the mathematics. So in this session, this is enough, and the next session we will discuss the problem about the dimension analysis, solving the lots of questions related to JEE Advanced and IIT JAM and so on and so forth.